Let me have the honour of introducing to you George Gordon Byron, the 6th Baron Byron of Rochdale. Mad, bad and dangerous to know, as he was called by some during his mad, bad, dangerous lifetime. We'll call him Byron. I'll effect the introduction with a sample of the mad, bad ones, more outrageous utterances, the kinds of thing that in fact scandalised his contemporaries. They need for their full effect to be delivered with a lordly drawl, which you'll forgive me for trying to imitate. "Every day," said Byron, "confirms my opinion of the superiority of a vicious life. And if virtue is not its own reward, I don't know any other stipend annexed to it. Live vicious, live long. Fame is the thirst of youth," declared Byron. "Life's enchanted cup sparkles near the brim." He did a lot of drinking. "A mistress never is nor can be a friend. While you agree, you are lovers, and when it's over, anything but friends." And this on Britain's great neighbour. "America is a model of force and freedom and moderation, with all the coarseness and rudeness of its people." And then, talking about himself, "I have no consistency except in politics, and that probably arises from my indifference to the subject altogether." Now, I could go on, but there's enough there to prove the point, I trust. We're in the company of a very superior literary man indeed, top chop, as he would say. And he doesn't think much, we apprehend, of us, lower than top chop. But damn it, the man has genius. Even though humble plebs that we may be, and even though we know that he's perhaps sneering at us in our kind, nonetheless we cannot but pay his due. The man's a snob, and he may, as he protests and confesses, have been demonstrably vicious, but he writes like an angel. And since we're in the literary critical, not the moral business, we can forgive almost everything for that. So, who, you may ask, was this Lord Byron? He was born in 1788, during the height of the French Revolution. Lord that he was, and in many of his prejudices, particularly against his countrymen, a true blue Tory to the core, Byron would, of all the Romantic poets, be the most actively revolutionary in his adult life. He was the one of this company of Romantic poets who would most willingly risk his life, something that even the most idealistic poets are rarely willing to do. He served as a commander in Italy's revolutionary organization, the Carbonari, in its struggle against Austria. And he died shoulder to shoulder with the forces of Greece, fighting for that nation's independence from the Turkish imperial oppressor. In that country, Greece, he's still a national hero. Byron inherited the family title very early in life, aged 10. And with the title, he inherited a fortune and the right to sit in the country's House of Lords, its supreme legislature. Now, with all these advantages came one handicap for Byron, a club foot. How much of his later recklessness can be traced back to that shaming disability has been much pondered by biography. Or possibly it could have been in the genes, that recklessness, something he inherited from wild ancestors, such as his father, who was nicknamed Captain Mad Jack Byron. And there were other wild men and wild women in the Byron family tree. Whatever the cause, Byron overachieved through life, physically. As in Hero and Leander, he swam the Hellespont to prove, in fact, that he was physically superior. Socially, he raised hell, and sexually, he womanized and had a covert taste for young boys. And he wrote the most scandalous verse of his age, the long epic Don Juan, which is arguably the greatest long narrative poem to come out of the Romantic revival, but was conceived at the time to be highly scandalous. Byron received what was then, and still is now, the standard education of an English gentleman, even though his earliest years were passed in Scotland, in later